Today I'm going to start by telling a little bit of a story. We're going to get into here in a few minutes talking about dealing with entrepreneurial frustration. A couple weeks ago, I was here in my office on a Friday, and tax day. I have an accounting firm, and about a week away from the filing deadline, I'm sitting in my office, and I had a number of my team members that actually had taken the day off. I actually had a few of them that had taken some extended time off. And they had a good reason to kind of go and out and doing what they were doing, and kind of understood that to a certain extent. But kind of as an accountant, and we're kind of in the heat of the moment, just kind of sitting there and wondering why that here we are about a week away from the filing deadline. I am missing essentially over half of my team on that particular day and over the period of a few days. And as I began to sit there, as I thought about it, I began to get a little bit frustrated. Now, I don't know you as a business owner, if you're anything like me, and I think probably for most of us, we reach a point to where we have either seasons, days, maybe moments where we just simply really get frustrated. Now, kind of in this moment, I kind of went through kind of these emotions. I began kind of feeling sorry for myself. I began to sit there and think, there's no way in the world I can do this. I simply can't do this. Don't those around me understand what we're facing, what we have to deal with? They didn't understand that we have this deadline. And of course, there was nothing malicious that was done. They were simply just living their lives and doing what they felt was best for themselves and for their life. But as a business owner in that moment, I really began to get a lot of it frustrated. And I remember on that particular day picking up my phone and texting my brother-in-law, who actually happens to own a number of businesses himself. And he gave me some really good advice. And I'm going to kind of walk into a little bit of the advice that I was given when kind of dealing with frustration as a business owner. Of course, as business owners, we kind of battle in general with kind of that what's generally been called the imposter syndrome. That we aren't as good as other people think we are. At least we don't think we're as good as people think we are, and we have to look at ourselves in the mirror. We know our weaknesses, we know our failures, and those types of things. And sometimes people on the outside, they generally don't see that. They kind of many times just see us at our best. Even our team members think that we're simply just going to always have all the answers and be able to fix any problem, regardless if it was caused by me as the business owner or by them as the employee. And so kind of battling all of these emotions and really began to kind of drag me down. And began to get frustrated. And like I said, I picked up my phone and I texted my brother-in-law, and his name is Tom. And Tom and I are, of course, very, very good friends as well, and not just family members. But I texted him. And Tom used to run a mastermind community and used to travel all over the country with him. And kind of got to know him well and to kind of understand his business acumen a little bit. And I kind of just leaned into him a little bit and really just kind of just reached out just to express my frustration. And of course, he was very gracious in response, and he ended up telling me, and this is the first thing that I want to share with you. When you're as a business owner, what are some things that we should consider doing? First of all, and this was the advice that he gave me, he literally in his text, he says, you don't have time to focus right now on what went wrong, because you don't have time to focus on what went wrong. Decide what are the top priorities and conquer. That's literally all his text said. He goes, you don't have time to worry about this right now. Decide what those top priorities and conquer. And so that kind of it really allowed for me to hit a reset button. So I began to sit there. I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to take a deep breath. Okay, what are those few things that I know I can get done that are high priority, and I know I can get those things done today. And I think probably realistically as business owners, this may be something that we should be doing every day. And I even use a day planner. It has, these are the top 3 things you need to get done today. And I just simply didn't do the work. And so Tom's advice to me was wonderful. It allowed for me just to kind of take a step back, here are the top few priorities, the things I have to get done today. And these are the pressing needs for this moment. And I can worry about kind of what went wrong at a later date. And that's exactly what I did. And actually, it turned out to be an okay day. I kind of worked through the rest of the day. I kind of looked back and I said, you know what, taking those few moments and following his advice to take a step back really allowed for today to be more of a productive day, because otherwise I would have just sat there kind of just in the middle of my emotions and not pushed myself or the business forward at all. And so I was thankful. And Tom, if you happen to listen to this, I greatly appreciate the advice. And so 3 more points here, and these part and parcel, some of it from Tom, and then the rest of it was from my coach, and also had a conversation with my coach. And I kind of expressed some of this, and he kind of came at it from a similar angle. And we kind of took the next step of, okay, we need to schedule a time to process this. So when you kind of go through a situation where things are falling apart, of course, you're going to have to get the work done. You're going to have to push through. It may be game time. It may be the fourth quarter. You're kind of pushing to get deadlines done. And you really kind of, as an entrepreneur, need to kind of set some of these problems off to the side and make a determination that we're going to deal with this. And we are going to deal with this, but just the timing's not right. So number 2 is to schedule a time to process what happened and how we ended up getting here. Develop the list of facts, not emotions, of what occurred and its impact on the business. And so his name is Justin, and Justin on the call, he said, Josh, you really need to schedule a time, and what you're going to do is you're simply just going to jot down those the facts of exactly what happened and its impact on the business. It's relatively black and white. Remove your emotion and kind of take your interpretation, your paradigm out of the issue and just simply put down the facts. And as I've kind of done some of that, and I look back, I realized that, the impact wasn't as great as I thought it was. We kind of pushed through through those days and through the next week just perfectly fine. Didn't get as much done as we wanted to get done, but we really didn't drop the ball anywhere that the ball really needed to make sure that it wasn't dropped. So everything turned out to be okay. Okay, we said kind of allow for that little bit of space, sit down, develop what indeed are the facts, document those facts, and then what was the impact on the business. Third, develop a plan that still empowers the team, that provides system and processes that addresses the problem. So, and his advice to me was to sit down and kind of determine, once you determine what happened, empower the team. And empower the team in a way that essentially you can develop some sort of a system, some sort of processes to deal with whatever the problem was. Now, in this one here, it may have been a little bit more, and it's one that I've actually talked to a couple of the team members about. And one thing I don't want to do from the culture of the business is become too corporate. But we understand that maybe there's some more rails that need to be put up and more guidelines that need to be put up to protect the business and to protect their livelihood as well. But to develop a plan and make sure that whatever that plan is, it still empowers your people. Then lastly, number 4, to schedule a meeting with the team to walk through the journey, what had happened, to present the facts of the situation and the impact on the business. So take the time to where you're going to go back and the list of issues that was caused by those decisions, the impact on the business. What were the actions? What was the impact on the business? And then talk through it. Maybe get some feedback from the team. And one thing, I had a team meeting earlier. I've been in Tampa this week and got back in really early, and so came here to the office, and we ended up having a team meeting and just talking through what's happened the last few days, what are some problems that we've had. We had to let a client go due to a lack of some integrity issues and things of that nature. So we had to talk through some issues and kind of wanted an update as the team and kind of reinsert myself in after being gone for a few days. And it was a wonderful, productive meeting. We had a roundtable, we had some interaction, we had some conversation. Here are the problems we're dealing with. How are we going to solve this as a team? And I think when we're dealing with situations that create a lot of frustration to us as a business owner, we've gone through, we've documented the facts, we've documented the impact on the business, and then to meet together to have a conversation on what can be done collectively to address this problem, to make sure that we're all on the same page. I think it probably also would be a time to really determine who's on board and who's really not on board, who's looking out ultimately for themselves. Do they truly have just an employee mindset coming in and clocking out and going home? Or do they truly care about the team and the teammates and the team members and the business as a whole? Because we know every decision we make inside of our business impacts everybody that works for us and vice versa. And so if someone's not working up to kind of a expected level of expectation, of course the entire team kind of has to pull out a little bit more. And when you're dealing with a time in your business, maybe a season in your business where you're overly busy, you have deadlines you're trying to hit, and somebody makes a decision that's purely a selfish one, it can be one that can greatly impact the just kind of the morale of the people that work in the company. It could create a lot of additional frustration for you as an owner, and really kind of impact the bottom line of the business. So dealing a little bit with entrepreneurial frustration, some frustration that we will deal with as an owner, and maybe some practical steps. Not anything that I wrote up, but just some things that I've learned from people that are very close to me here over the past week or two. Hopefully this particular podcast brought you some value. My name is Josh Belk. This is the Belk on Business podcast. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Have a wonderful day.